Jessica actually just finished one of her largest events ever, and this was with Rare Beauty, and she was able to hire 4 other calligraphers who were all part of TCA. So she had 5 calligraphers at one event that was serving 500 people.
I think one of the things that is important to me is to keep my culture, my Latina heritage alive for my kids.
I know we mentioned earlier that literally as soon as you joined, within a couple of weeks, you had booked your first event. Tell us about that.
The holidays were coming and I wanted to set myself up for success. And so that was one of the things I was like, okay, I'm going to watch everything, make my website, get everything done. I feel like people can sense your vibe, you know? And I think when you're authentic and you take a leap of faith and you are genuinely wanting to do work because you care about the client is really important. You have to give yourself a lot of grace. As a parent, I think it's one of those things like when you're starting a business, it's not easy. I mean, I don't have it 100% figured out. I'm still, even today, trying to figure out how to juggle 3 kiddos and a business.
It's not something that happens overnight. It's not a snap of a finger. It's not clicking your heels and making a wish. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Today we have Jessica with us. I'm super excited to have her. Hi, Jessica. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi. So good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yes, of course. I'm super excited because Jessica actually just finished one of her largest events ever, and this was with Rare Beauty, and she was able to hire 4 other calligraphers who were all part of TCA. So she had 5 calligraphers at one event that was serving 500 people. So I'm really excited to talk about that. That's definitely going to be in our tactical information part so that people can learn how you did it, in addition to how you're able to integrate your personality and Latin heritage into your business while also maintaining a stay-at-home mom life. So I'm super excited to dive into your story today.
Yeah, totally. Can't wait to share.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so good. I'm excited. And then for anyone who doesn't know me yet, hello, my name is Rosie. I'm the calligrapher behind Wandercrafter. I'm also the founder of the Craft Academy, where we help calligraphers just like Jessica create, automate, and scale their calligraphy businesses based on their unique story, history, and methodology. When I started my business in 2017, I made so many mistakes that, I ended up wasting so much time and money, and ended up being able to find my niche and really focus in on my business. And ever since then, I've been able to repeat the same methodology with other calligraphy entrepreneurs so that they can actually work with their own dream brands and accelerate their path to success as well. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss any fun and educational videos just like this one. Okay, so let's move to Jessica. So this is an incredible story of Jessica, who is the artist behind Alcove Calligraphy, who used our methodology to transform her business from literally 0 to 4 figures in less than 1 month, which is absolutely amazing. Prior to the Craft Academy, Jessica was a stay-at-home mom who was searching endlessly for information on how to start her business. And after joining the Craft Academy in just a couple of weeks, she actually booked her first event, which is amazing. Since then, she's been able to achieve numerous live events and worked for brands like Dior, Jo Malone, Detique, Sephora, Rare Beauty, just to name a few. And these are some amazing brands. So I'm really excited to talk to you, Jessica. So let's give us the quick and dirty story on how you went from stay-at-home mom to CEO.
Well, first and foremost, in 2020, towards the end, and then beginning January is when I actually started dabbling in calligraphy. I really needed like an outlet. So I was like, okay, I'm a stay-at-home mom. COVID just hit. We've been indoors. I need something that's like an outlet for myself. So I started looking for material and how to learn. And so I was hooked, started like writing on everything and anything, trying to learn different styles of writing, mostly modern, a script. And then a year went by. All of a sudden, my friends started encouraging me to try to do a business. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know. I've tried it before with different things. And I was like, all right, I think, I feel comfortable enough to do this. And so in January of 2022, I started looking and trying to figure out how I can turn what I love doing into a business. And I was having no success finding any information on how to do this. That's how pretty much I just started, was just research, Googling, trying to ask questions, but I wasn't getting any type of information anywhere.
Do you feel like it was because it wasn't specifically pertaining to calligraphy businesses, or what was it exactly that you weren't finding that you needed?
I think I wasn't finding like anything that was detailed. I'm someone who kind of needs to be told what to do and how to do it. I tend to struggle with finding information. I would say I'm probably not the best research person to go and look for information. I really love when things are laid out for me and it makes it easy to follow so that I can do it. And so then I feel like I completed something. Especially being a stay-at-home mom, I felt like I don't have a lot of time to just research also. I really needed something that was like broken down for me. A few months in 2022, it was all just like Googling and not finding any information. And I did have friends who own businesses, but it was a different market. They're in different like finance or something like that. And so anytime I would mention about opening a business, it was like the advice I was getting didn't pertain to what I was doing. So I felt like, not that I disregarded what they were saying, but I'm like, no, I don't think you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, this is what I'm trying to do. So
yeah, isn't that funny that like when you talk to other people who are not within the calligraphy space, they have their own opinions, but they don't know anything about the business, but they still want to give advice.
Right.
So, I think it's still helpful to talk to other entrepreneurs to kind of learn about the logistics and stuff like that. But when it comes to calligraphy, it's such a specific niche that it's hard to find information and get information from someone who's not in the industry.
As much as I love the advice and the input, sometimes it's just not applicable to what we're doing.
So then what was the thing that made you pull the trigger to join the Craft Academy?
In August of last year, right, I met a few gals at Young Hay's book launch. I think you were there.
I was there, yeah.
I was like, I'm going to go talk to her. I'm a shy person. People would say I'm not. That was the first time I branched out on my own and was like in a room full of people I didn't know. I remember a couple of them were mentioning where I was from, how far I had driven. And I was like, from San Francisco. So they were like, oh, you're not local. So they asked me about me. And then when I told them that I was looking to start a business, but I was here just because I wanted to like network and get to know people, we started talking about TCA and how it worked for them. And they were just so excited. I was like, oh, tell me more. And so they shared a lot. And then that was August. Came back home and then life happens again. I'm a mom, so like forgot about it. And around October, someone reached out to me and who I'd met there and had said, hey, did you ever end up making a call? And I was like, oh, thanks for the reminder. Then that's when right before you closed the doors for October, right? I made the cut and I realized, you know what? I like what I hear. I want to see how this will work.
I love that. And I'm really sad that we didn't actually get to meet in person that day.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that you were able to talk to some of our members and learn from their experiences, and they convinced you to join. So that's just amazing. I honestly had no idea.
It's so funny because now I look back, I'm like, that's so funny. Like, so many that I saw there. I'm like, they're also part of TCA, and it's so awesome to see that I connected with them and seen their growth as well. It's been really awesome.
Love it. And it's just like our community is just so strong, so like no matter where you go, if there's TCA people there, you're like automatically you already have friends. So
yeah, totally.
Amazing. I know we mentioned earlier that literally as soon as you joined, within a couple of weeks, you had booked your first event. Tell us about that.
The holidays were coming and I wanted to set myself up for success. And so that was one of the things I was like, okay, I'm going to watch everything, make my website, get everything done. The Facebook community is so awesome because everybody is willing to communicate and like encourage and share. And so that was one of the things that helped me be able to reach out to someone in regards to a job opening. And then as I already had my brand deck on my birthday, they reached out to me and said, hey, would you like
oh my gosh, I remember that. Like the best birthday gift ever.
So yeah, definitely tears on that day because I couldn't believe it that within the 2 weeks of all signing up, I was already seeing the fruit of my labor and like just seeing all that coming to life. So I was really excited. And then after that, it did snowball and I was able to get a few more gigs as well. And so that was amazing.
Super happy for you. Amazing to hear that you've had success so fast and you continue to do that as you juggle momhood and your business. So that's just so amazing. So let's take a look into like your business from what it used to be to what it is now. What did you start selling in the very beginning?
In the beginning, it was more like wall art, like, poems, quotes, things like that with like watercolor. Either friends or friend of a friend would ask if I can create something for them. Yeah, I was doing that. And then also around the time I had just purchased an engraver and I was like, okay, I can engrave some tumblers as well. And so started dabbling in that as well.
Okay. And then when did you start making the shift to more live event stuff?
When I joined TCA. say. That's when I was able to niche down and realize, like, what did I want to do? Like, did I want to still do wall art and like poems and quotes, or did I want to do something with live events? And funny enough, as we did our encounter call and we were trying to niche down and figure out what it is that I wanted to focus on, live events was something that I actually had in mind. I didn't know that's what it was called. I went out with a friend to the mall, and I just remember looking, like, as we were walking, like, oh, it'd be so great to work with these businesses. When you said live events and going in person, I was like, that's what it's called. So I was like, yeah, awesome. That's when I realized, like, you know what, this would be perfect. I love this.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. I know sometimes you just have to like see it and then be like, I want to do that, but I don't know what that is called. And like, I still remember telling my friends when I first was trying to get into it, and they're like, I don't know if that's a thing. I'm like, no, guys, it's a thing. Like,
it is
to me.
It is. I want to sit there. I want to wear all black and I want to sit there, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. So I remember on like one of our coaching calls, one of the biggest things that you really wanted to integrate into your business was your Latin heritage. So what were some of the mental challenges you had to go through? Was it pretty easy for you to like work yourself in as a Latin calligrapher, and how you really, integrated that into your business?
I think one of the things that is important to me is to keep my culture, my Latina heritage alive for my kids. My kids are biracial. I want them to know that they're Hispanic, they're Latinos, and that they can learn the language and be proud as well. And so when I was looking into creating my business, I wanted to be able to reach out to the community to be able to teach them calligraphy. I was wondering, how could I reach out and how can I represent it in this area? When we discussed it together, I wanted to do like workshops. Like, I still am working on that. That's one of the things I'm still working on, is to create a workshop for the Spanish speaking community. But as we discussed it, the one thing I really wanted was to make sure that it was on my website, that everywhere that I am able to talk about my business, I also talk about, I speak Spanish. Do you need a Spanish speaker? Do you need something for a quinceañera or like a wedding or something? But it's in Spanish. And I thought that that was something that I really wanted to do. Yeah, I'm so thankful that, as we discussed it and talked about it, and you encouraged me to definitely be vocal about it, it has opened such a big door of opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I still remember, and it's really interesting because we also talked about this with Rancy, who does Chinese calligraphy. And I feel like there's, when you go online and look up calligraphy, you don't see like the different languages and different, heritages in there. And I think it's amazing that you and Rancy are both able to work your own respective heritages into your business. And I'm sure there's like a little bit of mindset that has to go into this. So was there any like mindset shifts that you had to make as you were integrating your Latin heritage into your business?
I think that the thing that had to shift is that, it's worth a shot. It's like, I have to try. I think that one of the things is like, it's easy to say like, oh, this is probably going to be hard to do because Spanish has different slang in the languages, right? And my concern was that, what if I say the wrong thing, and I'm not speaking perfect Spanish, and they're like, how am I teaching a course and I'm not saying the right thing? Or, she's just trying to make profit off of this. But no, I'm representing, my culture, my heritage, and I'm doing my best. And I'm trying to make something for people to have, those who want to learn. And I believe there's a lot of creative people out there who maybe English is a second language and they want to learn something, but they don't have the resources. Being able to get a resource from another country sometimes cannot be the easiest also, like if you're trying to download something or trying to buy something, it may not be as easy, but to have it accessible in the US for those who are here, it would be something that I think is wonderful. And I think that's a challenge that I've had to overcome, is to not be scared that I may be messing up or doing something wrong, but to kind of take the leap of faith and say, okay, this may not be perfect, but I'm learning along the way. And as I meet new people who, again, different Spanish ways of saying things, they'll also teach me, and I'll be able to integrate that into what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love like seeing people do calligraphy in Spanish, because that teaches me too. My husband is Colombian, so, we're definitely trying to integrate the Latin heritage into our family as well. It's really important to like learn how to write it correctly, and seeing, people like you being able to display that and represent that in the industry is super important. And it definitely seems like it has paid off, right? So let's talk about like the Rare Beauty event that you did. Obviously, Rare Beauty is owned by Selena Gomez, and it's all all about Hispanic heritage and mental health and stuff. So I'm sure like the event was just so amazing. Can you tell us more about that? So let's start off with how you got the event.
They reached out to me while I was on vacation. And so it was, again, I feel like all these big milestones that I've been able to achieve have happened when I'm completely out celebrating or doing something. I opened it, I was like, is this real? Because it doesn't seem real. It's too good to be true. They were telling me that they wanted an engraver for about 500. They wanted to engrave lip oils. Like they wanted to know what I thought and how we can make this happen. And it was going to be with Sephora in their new headquarters. And so I was like, okay, and of course it's just the nerves and excitement of seems too good to be true. Like I can't believe they reached out to me.
I remember you coming onto our coaching calls and being like, I think, this is like such a really good ideal client. I've always wanted to work with them. I don't know if this is real.
No, because I love Selena Gomez's brand and her message through her brand. And like I wanted to work with her, but I just never in a million years thought that they would find me.
Right.
And I think
how did they find you?
They Google search Latina owned business. And because we had talked about that way early in our call, that's how I set myself up with making sure that was something that was in my bio and I made a mention. And so I was really happy actually. And I didn't find this out till after the event, as we were talking after the event had finished and they were like, they had shared how everybody had like their own job. And one of them was to find the local calligrapher. And so they looked for Latina owned business for calligraphy. So to this day, I'm still like, it hasn't registered yet. Just the fact that it was a big event. I was able to hire a subcontract and we're together with wonderful TCA calligraphers as well. It's so awesome.
I love it. I love that story. And I think this is still, it's one of those like core memories as a calligrapher. And it's sad that it like happens so quick, right? Like you get the email and then like you're going through, you still don't realize it's happening. When you're there, you still don't realize it's happening and now it's over and you still didn't realize it. That's just hilarious to me. That your brain hasn't really caught up to your reality, which is like totally fine because you're gonna get so many more events. It's gonna keep happening for you. And I love that you took that risk of like putting yourself out online as owned Latin business, calligraphy business. So it's just amazing. I applaud you for that. I applaud you for being authentic with your business. So I know there's a lot of people out there who are probably wondering about negotiating and bringing on a bigger team, right? Like even for me, I think the biggest team I've ever had was 3 or 4. So for you to hire 5 total calligraphers, including yourself, is pretty amazing. How did you go about negotiating and convincing them that with 500 guests, we need 5 calligraphers? How did that work?
I think really letting them know that you're coming from a place of service. And I think you've said that before, that it's important to make them know that you're there for them and it's not so much what I can get out of it, but what we can provide for them. And so I emphasize that if they really wanted to have a successful event, I wanted it to be as smooth as possible for them, that we needed X amount of calligraphers there. If we went lower than that, it would definitely slow production time for engraving and we would be burnt out and it would bring the value of the engraving and the work down. And so I told them that it would be great if they could have more calligraphers. I think that that's the best thing. Yeah, they were on board. They were so supportive. Honestly, they're one of the best brands that I've worked with just the way they work with you and they're so in tune with you. Like they totally get where you're coming from. We were definitely collaborating and trying to make the best in this.
So do you feel like the 5 calligraphers for 500 guests, how many hours was the event?
4.
Okay. So it was about 100 lip oils per calligrapher over 4 hours. So it's like 25 an hour. So I think that's definitely some really good math there because you also want to put in entertainment time with the guests too, because you're not just there to engrave, you're there to provide entertainment and provide a really good experience for everyone who's there. Do you feel like that was enough people for the amount of people that attended?
I think so. I think that also communicating with them, being realistic about like what we could write on the lip oils, right? And also kind of communicating with them also about the product. And for example, the lip oils are plastic, right? So when we first tested them out, we're like, well, this is plastic and it's really shredding. And so we tested the caps and realized the caps engrave much better and cleaner than the actual body of the lip oil itself. And they were on board. They were like, yeah, go for it, And so we let them know that the limitation of how many words or letters, once we had that down and we were able to communicate everything, it was just like pretty smooth.
Love that. Well, that's amazing, Jessica. Thank you so much for giving us the recap and all the tactical information about that. I think that's going to be really helpful for anyone who's listening, who might be in the program or who's thinking about going into the program. Do you feel like it was pretty seamless for you to do the subcontracting and negotiations with both the brand and the artist that you subcontracted?
Definitely. I think that one of the biggest challenges was probably just like talking about insurance. I think every location is so different about that. But other than that, like finding the calligraphers and subcontracting, I think all the ladies who I reached out were just totally on board. And I was like, thank you, you know, that you want to work with me and we want to do this together. You know, we're a team. So
I love it. Yeah. And it's honestly like seeing everyone work together for events just like these. They make my heart like so happy, because that's what was my initial goal when I created the Craft Academy, is to create this community where we all supported each other no matter what, and was generous with their events and hiring out and, you know, just spreading the love all throughout the entire industry. So I feel like we've definitely done that, and we're starting to influence the rest of the industry as well. So, you know, having people just like you who are willing to give back and, you know, be amazing artists and stuff like that, like it makes a huge difference for us. So thank you. We kind of talked about a lot of tactical information already with the Rare Beauty event. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with the community as far as, you know, just building your business and things like that? Is there anything that you'd like to impart onto the community?
I think it's not being afraid to be your authentic self. I think that sometimes it's very easy to put a mask on and be one thing in these events and then be totally the opposite. Or I feel like people can sense your vibe, you know? And I think when you're authentic and you take a leap of faith and you are genuinely wanting to do work because you care about the client is really important. And they see that. And I think that that is something that I encourage anybody, is just like, yeah, be yourself. Like they are hiring you because they love your work. Once they get to know you too, it's like, wow, like that's awesome. You're building a relationship. My thing is build those relationships, connect with people. I love connecting with people, even meeting new calligraphers. Even in our area, I feel like there's been a surplus of new calligraphers, and I'm like eagerly wanting to meet them and to talk to them and hear their stories. And so I think, yeah, establishing those relationships is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Not having a relationship or even just a calligrapher friend to bounce ideas off of and talk to, it's so easy for you to start spiraling when things don't go your way. But when you have a community who can pump you up when you need it or brainstorm and bounce ideas off of, that makes a huge difference in not only your mindset, but also your business growth as well.
Totally. I've definitely seen that. When I think that one of the things that is definitely really strong in the TCA community is the community. I feel like everybody has that one person or various people who they reach out to and talk to and like, hey, you know, when I'm feeling low, they pump you up, you know, or when there's like this mindset, they're like, snap out of it, you know, or I need help with this. Like, it feels nice to be able to have people that you can reach out to and say, my husband doesn't understand, but I know you do. Like, but yeah, having a community that understands you and supports you. And in a way, it's like ride or die. Like they get where you're coming from is so nice. And I think that has helped me like feel confident, because I think we also all need somebody to cheer us on. There are days we all go through seasons. I feel like, right? I think that I think you've mentioned it before where, you know, December, it'll feel like we're on fire and we're unstoppable. And we have all these jobs lined up and we're like, yeah, you know, and then January hits and we're like, what in the world just happened? Like, you know, and you made a mention like that's normal. And it's like, you know, and then so you feel like what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting enough jobs anymore? And this and that. But then it's like, no, we go through seasons. We all go through seasons. Even the most seasoned person will go through seasons, you know, and it has nothing to do with our quality of work. It has nothing to do with that we're not good enough or looking down at ourselves. It's the reality. It's the seasons to keep going and just keep working hard. Also just continually putting the work. And then if there's an off season, take it as a time of like getting yourself back together, you know, practicing foiling or wood burning, whatever it is, like take those moments.
Or even just working on admin things that you've been putting off, things that you can't do do during the busy season, like updating your website, getting new photos and stuff. So what's great about like the Craft Academy is that we give you that kind of blueprint and like seasons to expect so that you know and you can predict what's actually going to happen throughout the year. You know, based on our experiences and history, we can at least be able to identify where the high seasons and low seasons are so that you're more mentally prepared when that does come and you're not feeling depressed or down on yourself when things don't go your way.
I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. It's not to say that we don't go through those mental moments where we almost start to believe these things, but at the same time, it's like we have to be mentally prepared. It's a business, right? So at the end of the day, we just have to keep pressing forward.
And that's kind of the thrill of being an entrepreneur, right? Like you kind of want those seasons to change because otherwise it feels like a 9-to-5 job. You're doing the same thing every day and it just doesn't feel as fun. But if you have these like different seasons to challenge you, then that makes you more inspired to do better and to be better.
I consider them like growing pains, you know, like just each time we have something that's difficult or, you know, working in admin, which I do not like working the back end stuff. It's just so much paperwork, but all these things help us grow, help us improve. And then the great thing is we can always look back and say, well, at least we're not where we started. We're moving forward, even if it's slow, even if it's not where we initially wanted to be, but at least if there's some progress, you know, I think that that's awesome.
Yeah, love it. I guess one more thing I wanted to ask you, because you are a stay-at-home mom, you're balancing mompreneurship. Like what's your kind of tactical piece of advice for that, you know, balancing the mom guilt of like, you know, maybe taking time away from your kids when you feel like they need you, but also, you know, just being able to give attention to both parties, like your kids as well as your business. How do you balance all of that and make sure that you're spending the appropriate amount of time in both areas?
Aside from coffee, because I feel like coffee is my best friend. I constantly have coffee with me. I would say you have to give yourself a lot of grace. As a parent, I think it's one of those things like when you're starting a business, it's not easy. I mean, I don't have it 100% figured out. I'm still, even today, trying to figure out how to juggle 3 kiddos and a business. But I think that when you have a support team, like my husband is amazing support. He just tries to help me out as much as he can to like, if I have an event, like he'll take the kids, or we have best friends that are like second family. They're like, don't worry, we'll watch the kids. Like having a great support system is awesome. And I think, you know, having communication with whoever is in helping out with the kids, you know, whether it's a single mom or everybody's story as a parent is different. So the way my home life looks is completely different than everybody else's. I would say it's just, pick the pieces you want to focus on one step at a time. I used to be of the mindset, I have a massive list. I want to knock it out all like in one day. That's not realistic at all. I think even you said it, bite-sized pieces. Do one little bit at a time. Pick one thing that you want to focus on that day and do it. And then if you have like inquiries or things like that come in, definitely try to answer them. You know, I still don't have it 100% figured out. I'm still trying to figure it out, but that is one of the things that has helped me be able to see some success is to just do it one step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just reducing the amount of pressure that you put on yourself into these moments and just knowing that whatever you do towards your business is also providing some kind of value to your kids as well. And just knowing that you're setting a good example and being a role model for them as they get older so they're more inspired to pursue their own passions and goals.
I've told my kids many times, if you have a passion for something, you can learn anything. I feel like anything that I've done, whether it's cake baking or calligraphy or engraving, all the things that I've learned, even for my business. I mean, I had a hunger to want to learn to do this. And when we have a desire, we soak up everything. We're sponges. We'll want to learn everything we can. Teaching that to my kids, I think that is a nugget for them in life that they can also learn something. And hopefully, I mean, they will have that desire to want to learn something and do something, with, you know, even if it's not super crazy degree or something, but if they do something that they really, really love and can turn it into something, I'm all supportive for them.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Yeah. Yes. Inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Totally.
Okay. So as we come to an end for this interview, I wanted to ask you a couple of closing questions that we ask all of our interviewees. What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about investing in themselves?
I mean, do it. If you want to invest in your business, nothing is wasted. I think I look at everything as a resource. It can seem scary to invest, right? Like whatever it may be, whether it's learning a class, whether it's signing up for a program or a coaching program. Sometimes it can be scary, but I think that if you look at it for like the long run, I think that it's an investment. So I think don't be afraid to do it.
Love it. And then the last question that I ask everyone, what would you tell yourself back when you first started, knowing what you know now?
There was this uncertainty because I didn't know where to start and everything. And once committed and started saying, hey, this is what I'm going to invest in. This is what I'm going to do. This is the goal. And just did it. I see the fruit of my labor. I see all of that, you know. Did it happen overnight? No, not really. But I mean, you have to put work into it. There's no Disney magic for this. You have to do the work. And so I feel like, wow, like all the tears and all the struggle of wanting this to happen, like, yeah, I did it. Like, wow, like I look back now and I'm like, that's so amazing. Like all these things that I had as somewhat of a bucket list. It's been amazing to see the fruit of that. So thank you so much.
It's not something that happens overnight. It's not a snap of a finger. It's not clicking your heels and making a wish. Everything that you've accomplished in this last year, you've done it yourself. You put in the hard work. You applied the lessons of the program. So, you know, that's a testament to your experience and your hard work. So thank you so much for being an amazing part of our program, coming on and sharing your story today. I know it's going to be super inspiring for anyone who's watching. For anyone else who is watching and hearing Jessica's story and is really resonating with it, we definitely encourage you to apply for the program. We do close from like the first week of November until mid-January just to focus on live events and doing the holiday season and stuff, but we do reopen back in January. So definitely book a call with us so that we can talk to you about your business, your program. Consider it a complimentary coaching session because we talk for about an hour. We get really down into the nitty-gritty and the goals of your business, and we'd love to help you. So definitely book a call at wandercrafter.com/apply. It's going to be super amazing. With Jessica, we've known each other for about a year now, and I'm so excited about the growth that she's experienced, you know, working for amazing, notable brands like Dior, Jo Malone, Boutique, Sephora, Rare Beauty. This is just the beginning for her. This is just the beginning of the amazing journey she's about to go on. So I'm so excited for you.
Yay!
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing your story, coming on and spending some time with us today. We appreciate you so much. If people want to learn and follow and maybe talk to you, where can people find you?
Alcove_calligraphy on Instagram. And then my website is alcovecalligraphy.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jessica. Have a fabulous day. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.